What's up, guys? Dr. Darrius, 97.9 WJLB for iHeartRadio. Getting ready for Pistons season. I got my guy right here on the line with us right now, Pistons beat writer Rod Beard. What's up, Rod?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Darrius. You good, man?
I'm good, man. Hope everything is well with you and your family during these COVID times. I know we didn't physically see each other maybe around March, April. The season was kind of ending. The Pistons were, looking to win or possibly lose some games too. We were hoping that they, just get a really good pick. We ended up with number 7, but here we are now, man. We brought in Troy Weaver of the offseason. He has some experience in drafting. He's identified some players that defines the league this year or today. Looking at guys like Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant and James Harden. So he has some experience in drafting. Detroit, man, we were sensitive about our picks. And getting that number 7 spot, we were really looking for someone to possibly help restore this organization. What do you think about, our roster now? We're pretty young. I see coming into the training camp, we have, 5 to 6 rookies surrounded by a few veteran players from Wayne Ellington, Blake Griffin, and of course, Derrick Rose. What do you think about this roster and the challenges that Coach Casey, the former Coach of the Year, has to put this team together for winning success?
Well, I think they've done a wonderful job in a short amount of time in flipping over this roster. If you think back to the Stan Van Gundy era, it took him a couple of years to get the players that he wanted and to play the style that he wanted. And Troy Weaver's done it in a matter of, he did it in a couple of days between free agency, the trades, and the draft and everything else. I like what they did in the first round in getting Killian Hayes because they get the point guard that they've been looking for. They address a specific need on the roster, and they get a guy who can train under Derrick Rose for as long as Rose is here, maybe the rest of this year, maybe part of this year, who knows. But Killian Hayes has really been impressive in camp, according to Dwayne Casey. The size at 6'5", the athletic ability. He's played overseas in Europe for 3 years, and he's only 19 years old. So that's the future of this franchise going forward. And just surrounding these rookies that they took, the 3 first-round picks, with veterans who can help them. I mean, Sadiq Bey went out to LA and worked with Blake Griffin. So that tells you what they're trying to do with these young guys, is give them a vet that they can immediately sort of gravitate to.
How do you see a guy like LiAngelo Ball fitting into this roster?
Well, he's on what's called an Exhibit 10 contract, so it's a non-guaranteed deal. And really, it's just to get him in training camp, and he gets a roster bonus if he signs with the G League team, the Grand Rapids Drive, for this year. So that's what's probably going to happen, is that he'll end up on the G League roster, and they'll take a look at him there and see if he's able to develop. And that's really where he was last year with the Oklahoma City Blue. And who was in Oklahoma City? Troy Weaver. So you can see some of the connections there that he's starting to make, and guys that he liked, he's bringing them over. He did the same with Justin Patton from Oklahoma City and ended up trading him. But you can see those relationships, those connections, the networking that you do in the league really gets you in with some of these other folks. And even when you look at Jeremy Grant, the big prize in free agency, somebody in Oklahoma City that he sort of groomed and came in under him.
I actually like Jeremy Grant. I got a chance to see him a little bit more during the playoffs in the bubble. Definitely like his play, his style of play, his aggressiveness, and it's a big opportunity for him, as well as a guy like Josh Jackson from Detroit. What do you think about him and his addition to the roster?
Well, I think it's the type of gamble that you have to take. And Dwayne Casey was making some comparisons to Christian Wood, a guy who maybe had a past that some teams didn't like and some teams didn't want to touch him and give him another opportunity. But Detroit fans saw what Christian Wood was able to do last year with some playing time, with the right type of nurturing, and again, with the right veterans around him to kind of show him the way that he should be going. Christian Wood had a wonderful season, ended up getting traded to the Houston Rockets, and now Josh Jackson can be that same sort of thing. Jackson was much more heralded, a number 4 overall pick, and just couldn't find anywhere to be able to go. The Pistons are taking a good gamble on him, and I think coming home could be the change of scenery that he needs to really turn things around and start to succeed.
What about bigs like Mason Plumlee added to the roster? How good will he be for Killian in the pick and roll action for Coach Casey?
Well, that was the one trade or free agency thing that I was just sort of, I don't know about this. But Plumlee is efficient in the pick and roll, and more than that, he's kind of the leader that they want to have too among the big men. So you get a Jahlil Okafor, he's a veteran too, but you want somebody who can talk to guys. And even in the clips that we're starting to see from practice, uh, that Plumlee is a leader type guy, and they want to establish a culture of winning and of guys who are really ready to be leaders and to help the young guys out. And I think that trumps everything else that they've done. Is they've created a culture. They've gotten some good veteran guys in here to nurture these young guys. That was the Wayne Ellington that was going to get the line right. Guys who played in the league may not have had a ton of success just yet, but guys who know how to play the game and can fit into this system. That's what they tried to do. Plumlee is one of the leads in that respect. And we'll see how that turns out. I think he's the starter from day one, and he's going to work well with Killian Hayes.
This is a pretty young team, Rod. Where do you see guys like Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin not necessarily fitting in, but playing with these guys? They're pretty young. They seem like they'll get up and down the floor, play some good defense. Where do you see our veterans fitting in this roster?
Well, the thing about getting Killian Hayes too is that if he can step in and start, and he's been starting in the preseason so far, is that you can keep Derrick Rose on the bench. You can minimize his minutes. You can minimize the wear and tear on his body at age 32. With Blake Griffin, same sort of thing, is that he'll start, but with the depth that you got around him, that Jeremy Grant can play either of those forward spots. They still have Sekou Doumbouya. They've got enough depth at those positions where Blake doesn't have to play a ton of minutes and handle the ball all the time like he did 2 years ago. He can come in and just be kind of a Blake, just what he does. He can do a little bit of everything, and he can play whatever position you need him to play, and he doesn't have to wear himself down the way that he did previously.
Man, let's talk about Jahlil Okafor. I was pretty surprised that he was available for us to pick up, but how well will he be in addition for Coach Casey this year?
I think he's going to be big. I think that's one of the underrated pieces of their free agency, is getting Okafor for a minimum deal. That same sort of deal, top 5 selection, and just didn't find his footing in the league where he could stick with a team. But you take an opportunity on him, that a guy who has a good mental capacity for being able to understand things. And if you take a gamble on him and it pays off, guess what? You got a guy at a minimum salary who's going to be a big contributor for you. I think he'll be the first big coming off the bench to come in for Plumlee.
Detroit Pistons beat writer Rod Beard, you're like day to day with the team, travel, writing, tweeting all the time. Do you have a proposed starting 5 so far?
Well, I think they go Killian Hayes. I think Josh Jackson gets the first crack at that. If not, it's DeLon Wright. Either one of those two at the 2 guard, Jeremy Grant at the 3, Blake Griffin at the 4, and then Mason Plumlee at the 5. All of those other 4, I'm fairly sure about. The shooting guard is the one that could either go Jackson or Wright.
Man, is it going to be weird at Little Caesars Arena with no fans? I mean, we basically, last season probably had about 30% fans, even on a great game. But how weird will it be, playing on a Monday night with no fans?
I mean, insert joke here about, well, they've been playing without fans for the past 3 or 4 years. It's not going to be – it'll be weird. The whole thing about just basketball in the bubble was that the television angles and everything else made it where you can watch it and you barely even notice that there weren't fans. But being in the arena is going to be super, super weird. I was at a Lions game, one of their first games of the season, with no fans, and you could hear the piped in noise. It just didn't sound right. You're used to seeing the fans, to hearing the fans. And for Little Caesars Arena, it's going to be the same sort of thing. But we'll see how that kind of pans out. We're not sure what the policy is going to be and whether they'll have us in there, but we'll find out for the preseason game on Friday, and I'll let you know what we're looking at.
Absolutely. Now, for you, Rod, as beat writer for a new team, new general manager, how was it for you, man? It just speaking, maybe a young writer watching right now, you got a new team, new faces to learn. How is it for you as a beat writer bringing it all together for a new squad?
Well, it's a lot of research. You got to go and watch film of previous games that these guys played. You got to talk to people around the league and see what kind of intel you can pick up and what they know and what they're willing to tell you. And then just kind of when you meet the guys and you do the press conferences, you got to ask questions to give you a better understanding of how they play, what they bring to the mix, how they feel about this whole thing. It's like they say the first day of school, and I've used that example a few times, but it's like that. It's just a whole bunch of new guys. And the thing about the beat writing is we see these guys every day, or in a normal year, we would see these guys every year. So the Drummonds, the Reggie Jacksons, the Luke Kennards, all of those guys, you end up seeing them. So it's like people that you work with. And during the pandemic, the last time we've seen them was March, face to face in the normal sort of way. So it's hard. It's different to just kind of pop up one day and you just got a whole new group of people that you have to interact with and have to work with. So you adjust along the way, but it's just a lot of research, a lot of reading, and a lot of talking to people to kind of get a good mastery of what's going on.
Absolutely. Now, I know this is the fastest turnaround in sports, especially for basketball. And I know the training camp is underway. The preseason is coming up soon. I know it's early, Rod, but where do you see this team going, man? Do you smell playoffs anywhere, or is it your nose clogged right now?
No, I think they'll be in that mix that, again, you only have to finish in the top 10 in order to get in that sort of playoff and play-in mix that they have there. So I think the Pistons will be right there. I mean, even last year, as bad as it was, they were right in that 13 sort of area. So they only got to be better than a couple more teams. And you think about the Knicks, the Cavs, Charlotte, teams that are right there in that same sort of level or have been the past couple of years with them. Can they be a little bit better? You need some things to go for you. You need Blake Griffin to be pretty healthy. You need those rookies to be able to come in and contribute. What you said earlier is this is a quick turnaround, and this is a brand new roster. How does that chemistry sort of play into this where, when you go to the gym and you just pick up 5 random guys, you can't just start hooping and everything just clicks automatically. This is such a short training camp that they're not going to have a lot of time to physically work together on the court before Friday, and they're out there playing preseason games. So that's going to be the biggest thing for me to watch is on the court, what does that chemistry look like, and are they able to play together?
Absolutely. Well, only time will tell. We'll see you, Rod, man. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to the season. Looking forward to reading some of your great writing and, of course, your tweets all the time, man. Where can we find you?
On Twitter at Det News Rod Beard, DET News Rod Beard. And that's where most of my stuff is. So if you want to keep up, that's where I am. And the DMs are open. So if any questions you have, any other stuff, shoot me a DM and I'll try to answer it as best I can.
There it is. Detroit Pistons beat writer, my guy, Rod Beard. Now, you think beat writer in radio and rap, you probably think that he's maybe a freestyler, but he's a Pistons beat writer. So can you freestyle any? No, yet?
No. I'll just say no. I can, but I'll say no because you put me on the spot.
Hey, Rod, man, thank you for your time. Hope your family is well and stay safe during these pandemic COVID moments.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. We'll do it again.
No doubt.